Now, all right. So, guys, welcome. I just started the recording of this session. Uh, if you have a question, just go to the upper right. There's a bubble chat there, or you can use your mic. You just type there your question, and I'm gonna be reading this. I'm gonna just move it to a separate window here because I have three screens here. So let me just make some adjustments here. There you go. There you go. I feel like a streamer, and I'm definitely not that one, but I do feel like a streamer right now. All right, I think I got it. All right, so strategy number two. Strategy number two, you already know that all the detail about the strategy is on our Discord. You go to the strategy section, and let me just tag this one. You go to the strategy section. I just pin that on the comments, and you go to the strategy section number two, and there you'll find it. So yesterday we reviewed the strategy number one. We record a 1 hour long video. I already posted that on the strategy number one channel. The strategy number one is a very, I would say, elegant strategy. Very easy to identify when to enter a trade, when to not. The strategy number two, I would say, is requires a little bit more of a skill, but I think it's also very easy to execute as well. And we're also working on turning this strategy into an indicator as well during this year. And I have our software engineer that are working every day. I talk with him every day, just exchanging ideas and see if this is working or not. So you see the screen isn't showing for you. So maybe I did not share my screen. Yeah, I did not. Sorry. Thank you for that. Let me screen one, go live. There you go. Now you can see the screen on our Discord. All right. Let me know if you see my screen right now. You can watch your screen. Yep. I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So for strategy number two, gradual movement towards trend optimizer line. I think I'm gonna rename this a little bit after watching the 2024 results. I think I have a better name for this one. You will see it would be renamed as, I would say, whatever movement towards trend optimizer line. I will say entry after a optimizer line retest. I would say something like this would be the new name, and you will see why. So what are scenario conditions? Number one, price is hovering above the trend optimizer line. It means the price went down, had a retest, and it's like moving above the line for longs, right? For shorts, it's the opposite. Like it had the retest and it's moving, and you missed the original trade. You missed the original bounce. This would have been a perfect strategy number one. But for number two, you need the retest and you need price to be hovering above the line. That's the condition number one. And the condition number two, and let me just move this, would be this one. A bullish circle, or for that effect, or any other anticipation bullish signal for that effect on our trend oscillator indicator. All right, number one. I include other indicators, but the bullish circle will appear first, probably 90% of the time. And another condition, and this is not in the Discord, but I think makes sense. That use a strategy after a second retest of the trend optimizer line, because for the first retest of the trend optimizer line, we already have the strategy number one. You could also use it, but we'll see. But ideally, just to make it a little bit more easier to follow, you use the right arrow strategy number one for the first retest, and you use the strategy number 2 for a second retest and above that. All right, so very simple conditions. Retest, price hovering above the line, and a bullish circle on the oscillator here. On the right algo, you go to the right algo number 4, you go to settings, and here by default you will find that new oscillator. Then you switch this one to oscillator here. There you go. So that oscillator are 2 oscillators in one. And that's one indicator you should have turned on, and the other indicator you should have is the right algo number 1. Go to settings and make sure the super signal. I would say limits are not necessarily because they don't appear at this level. I will take the profits, attention warning signals. I would say also it's not necessarily for this one. Probably these two. Yeah, use those two. All right, now we have our setup ready. And you should also look something like this. And I just drew these vertical lines because this is the 2024 period, right? From January to December. All right, let's start. So let's find all the scenarios I described. It will be a plus if we have, let's say, ideal conditions, price coming from a higher high. It's not mandatory for this strategy, but I will say it makes a ton of a difference. No liquidations below support. I would say it's not like a requirement, but I would say use, because in this case price will probably go below the trend optimizer line. Oh, sorry, I don't know why it's not working. Use volume adaptive key levels indicators to fine tune entry. All right, you see what I referred to. It's not necessarily, but helps a little bit. Okay, so let's review ideal scenarios. This is a weekly chart for Bitcoin. We have our higher high here. Price went up, went down. It touched this one. This was the strategy number 1. We already talked about that. So we wait for the second retest. We have a second retest. We don't enter here because not even for strategy number 1, because this is a lower high. This is a lower high. And this is also not necessarily to map. We can make this very simple. All right, and we track the oscillator and we wait for the second retest. All right. Then we have a bullish circle here. So we're gonna say that strategy number 2 is triggered here on this candle. Very simple. Price hovering above the line, and we have the bullish circle confirmed, right? And in this case, yep, it did play out. We have some ups and downs, and it finally played out. And if you missed this entry, probably this was the number 1, you could have also checked this scenario when we have another retest of the line, and we have another bullish circle after the retest, and it would have been here. It could have been probably the same trade. And we even had and we even have a third one here, which would be this one, which could also be valid because we also had another retest of the band. In this case, of course, it was very risky because we have a huge candle. I would say this is the most risky one, but it's also, something you have, and it's very difficult to code, is that, of course, this is very risky because the price is very far away from the line. So setting your stop loss here is very difficult. Probably I would set at the half of this candle, just because of experience. After a big candle, also there's a retracement to 50% of this one, but it's just for experience. But you will like, and I will add it here in notes, price as close to the trend optimizer line as possible when the bullish circle confirms. You could also anticipate and enter when the bullish circle is flashing, but it's a little bit risky because probably during this candle the bullish circle appeared when the price was here, not necessarily all the way up, but probably bullish circle started flashing around here. All right, that's as simple as that. As simple as that. There's nothing to overcomplicate this strategy. Now let's review. Opa, no, there we go. Now let's see if we can go back in time and let's see if it works. All right, so we have the first test, then we have the retest, bullish circle confirmed. We could have entered here, and you can see there's a line that appears right here telling us the price will probably hit this level. This is how we use the volume and at the ticket level. So you could use this to fine tune your stop loss. Probably have a stop loss all the way down here. And there you go. I have another one here. This is the other one that appeared very close. This one was a little bit better. This was a much better entry actually, because the price is closer from the trend optimizer line. And you don't have to take every trade, but when it is close, then you know you can execute a trade like this and set your stop loss here, and then same for whatever you want, from probably the previous high or something like this. You have a 2.69 for a 3. Yep, you could have made something like this in this case, right? So the closer, the better. There we go. I want to see this one. All right, I played this. I will play this one a little bit slower. Because you can see, yeah, nobody will follow that huge candle. I would probably do with Willy bit orders, but let's make it more user friendly. There we go. Now it also, I missed this because it appeared even before. This is what I was talking about, that the bullish circles even appears before. So I was expecting. I know my circles, guys. So there we go. Where is it? There we go. So the bullish circles start flashing here. So let's say, and this is for advanced traders only, because if you're not comfortable with that, you just wait for closing. But if you go to probably the daily chart and you on the daily chart also see bullish circle already confirmed, you see anticipation signal flashing, bullish anticipation signal flashing, then you could take the risk and assume this well will play out, right? As part of the same strategy. And of course, the price went all the way up, but the bullish circle was there, and when it closed, it is already confirmed. All right, but that's just for advanced traders. So I think that's the weekly. Those were the only times this strategy applied. Let's say we have one occasion here with, yeah, I think we all believe this one played out. Why? Because your stop loss, you already know this was a little bit risky. Your stop loss should have been below the trend optimizer line. This one was even better set up, less riskier. There we go. And let's find another one. And this one, of course, this one played out. I would have probably not taken the trade here. Definitely, I would have not bought here. I would have set a limit order probably around here. Probably would have not been filled. Or you probably set some escalate your orders. Gradual orders, probably limit order here, another one here, another one here. And if it hits right, and if it doesn't, well, you don't lose anything. But I would say for the weekly, it was 3 out of 3, 100% accuracy for this strategy. And you could also make the case that probably you set your limit order a little bit higher here and you missed this one. Let's say it was 2 out of 3. That would be 66%. But for me, with correct stop loss management or risk management, you can have an easy 100%. Also, in this scenario, if you consider this is a little bit far from the line, you could also set limit orders, right? if you, and I always will encourage you to use limit orders. Um, if you use limit orders, you probably will miss, I don't know, 30% of the trades um, using the strategy. But if your limit orders are hit, then your profits will be higher because you will avoid uh, huge losses when if you initial order loss. So try always to use the limit orders, even if you miss some trades. Or, as I mentioned before, if you're not sure, just escalate your limit orders. You can buy something at market price and a little bit lower and a little bit lower during this candle, right? This is also another nice strategy. So you layer in, that's the word, you layer in your position. But in this case scenario, you could also trade the market order and set some limit orders below because the strategy is already very clear here. Okay, that's very nice. And also, guys, this is exactly the time. This is exactly the time when everyone get nervous and everyone start talking about bearish scenarios on X. Everyone talking about bearish. Everyone talks about huge correction. Everyone get toxic or everyone disappears from Discord or for X. It's around these levels. Always is around these levels, and this will help you stay very I mean, without fear, very fact based, and just execute the strategy. Just execute a strategy. And if we lose the line, then yeah, probably very scenario. But until that happens, there's absolutely no reason to go bearish and stay away. This is exactly the moment when you pay attention. And this is when strategy number one thrives and strategy number two thrives as well. All right? Uh, so I think this is very clear. Now let's go to the daily. Let's go to the daily. And we have more.
Sorry to break in. I have some questions on the weekly. Do you want me to save them for later
Yeah,
after
go
the
ahead. Go ahead.
daily or take them now?
Go ahead.
Okay. So on the weekly, we had 1, 2, 3 scenarios play out here, and so scenario one looks like it didn't do super well, and I was wondering
This one?
if
This
the
one?
first one, yeah,
All right.
exactly. I was wondering if there's something that could have indicated that that one was less either invalidated or just more risky. And I was looking at the oscillator and I noticed that, well, the green oscillator dot confirmation happened on a widening oscillator, negative oscillator. Is that could
On
that
the
be a
like
sign of
on the
invalidation?
negative wave, you see here the blue wave.
Yeah, exactly. It's widening, right? It hasn't actually started narrowing down yet.
Uh, Not necessarily because you will find cases where also this happen and you have a perfect bounce. So
Okay.
it's very difficult to just make a conclusion there. What I will do just to put it simpler is just layering. If you find this is a little bit, let's say this is 16% away from the trend optimizer line already. So that's not small distance. So you just layer in your stop orders, your limit orders probably here at the bottom of the candles, even a little bit here. And let me just go back to this candle right here, and let me just do something very
So are you using strategy 2 for quick trades or spot entries or long-term leverage, or is there any particular types of trades that it's better for?
on the weekly, probably not leverage, probably spot positions. On the daily, yeah, I would use leverage as well. Uh, and it will all depend on how far it is from the line already. And or if I probably, let's say I probably catch it, a trend, the bullish circle flashing a little bit lower, then I will go probably with a bigger size position or use leverage. But on the daily, yeah, I would use leverage for this. But if it is far from here, I will split my order for sure, just to lower the risk. And you could also lower like just enter 25% of your ideal position and leave the rest here, right? That's just risk management, because this one requires a little bit more risk management than strategy number one. But on the other hand, it happens much more often than strategy number one. So probably 2-3 times often, two, 3 times more than strategy number one. So that's on the positive side. It happens more often than the strategy number one. On the negative side, let's say you have to manage your stop loss a little bit more. But I consider this successful because it was very obvious that that this line did not break. It held all this way. So this was probably your stop loss reference.
But sorry, so I think I'm probably the slow kid in the class right here. So I'm not catching how the first how number one is successful, because the until we get to number two, the price did go down below the trend optimizer line, and so my stop loss would most likely have been hit at that point. No.
I mean, it all depends because we also have this one here, and it's fine because it's not perfect. Probably someone will have the their their stop loss hit or not. Probably if you use limit orders, you can manage to have a better stop loss. But we have this huge wick here, so you could make the case that, or this line will break again, and that's why I mentioned earlier that for this strategy, uh, those lines tend not to be perfectly. We don't tend to have a perfect bounce anymore like we had on the strategy number one, because it has already been tested once. So once the strategy is tested once, it is highly likely that if price goes down again, it will go below. So you have to know that if you enter this trade, there's a possibility that the price will go down and go a little bit lower. So that's the risk on this trade. That's why I say that when it is far from this line, it is better to layer in your order, so your stop loss, you have some room to place it a little bit lower the line,
Okay.
below the
So
line.
so I guess that speaks a bit more towards strategy two being used for spot entries on the weekly, and I guess with a longer time frame in mind, because if you got into scenario one and you held on for a couple of months, then you would be very much in profit.
Even for a week, because if you enter here on a scenario one and you held for a week, just for
No,
a
no,
week.
no, not, sorry, not strategy one.
Yeah, all
Scenario.
right, the currency number one. All right, here. Yeah,
Yeah,
if
exactly.
you held for a while and you have your stop loss here, and you don't worry about it, yeah, you will be in huge profits, very huge
So is
profits as well.
strategy two a good strategy to use for macro accumulation, like on a weekly time frame?
Uh, I will not say that's the case because there will be occasions. I mean, in this chart, this one looks like this, but if you go to stocks or if you go to multiple assets, you will find different reactions, right? In this case, it looks um, as this happens after a retest of the trend optimizer line, and by its nature, this strategy happens when the price is hovering above the line, then you could say this strategy appears during consolidation times, during sideways movement above the line. So by nature, yeah, you could say that this strategy applies during consolidation phase after a breakout, because by nature it appears after a second retest of the line, and it will look something like this most of the time.
Okay.
This is a great strategy when you're bored. That's we talked yesterday. When you get bored and you say, I wanna take a trade, price is doing nothing. I'm desperate. I want to trade something. This is a great strategy for you because you see I'm getting bored, nothing is going on, and then you see this. All right, this is a chance to get a trade. Finally, not here, not here, not here, but yeah, right now, I can take a trade. And it's also a great strategy just to remove fear because believe me, at this time Everyone, not after the first one because it happens very fast, but at this time, everyone is scared or everyone is bearish. 99% of the people is bearish at this retest. Why? Because the possibility. I tell you why. Because if this level fails to hold, where's the support? You see, where's the support if level fails to hold? Where is it? Like the way down here? I will lose like 70% of its value or something like that. So this is why everyone gets bearish at these levels, especially here during this week. Probably everyone got out, but we will have not traded this one, right? Because this is not a scenario. So this is why everyone gets bearish here because the risk. Actually, this is where the risk reward are the highest you could possibly get, because your stop loss is really tight during this line, really tight, but the upside is huge. So this is like the sweet spot for traders. For traders, really, for traders. This is like the sweet spot when everyone gets fearful. I mean, that's when people say buy when there's fear out there, when there's blood out there. Yeah, this has been blood all the way down. If you buy here, you're wrecked. You're wrecked. You're wrecked. This is ideal time. All right, let's go to the daily. Let's. Oh, it is for. Yeah, I have to move a little bit faster, guys. All right. Let's go to the daily. Let me just delete all my drawings here. All right. So let's go to the daily. Where's the? Oh, sorry, I deleted my line. All right. All right. You're right. All right. So let's see. Here I will try to mark the trace first, just to move faster. I would say that we have. This is the first retest. This was trade number 1. Then we have no retest here. I have a retest here. There we go. We have an entry here, P40 trade number 2. We have a retest, then we will circle, and this obviously plays out very well. I would say perfectly. There we have one scenario here. Sorry, I will find a neutral sign. This one. Yeah, I will find a neutral one because there are much more signals here. All right. So we have the first one. Let's find another one. This is try number 1. Work out well. There we go. Try number 2. You can make the case. Yeah, this is also try number 2. It's far from this one, so you know this is a little bit riskier. You have like a small pump. When it is separate, the chances for price to go up are still there, but you know it's a little bit risky. And this is a 6%. 6% is a lot. It's a lot. With leverage on the daily, it's a 60% trade. Yes, definitely successful. Let's start moving. There we go. Here, another one. And this also successful. Let me zoom in, right? I have to zoom in here a little bit because you go blind here. All right. So this is right on this candle. Another perfect, perfect entry. And you know, we already discussed that, right? That's the closest to the line as possible. This is like an ideal scenario because your stop loss is very tight. Very tight. You have almost nothing to lose here. And even you see, yeah, this was a small pump. You probably will have set your take profit much higher, but always remember, quick profits, log profits. Log profit when there are quick profits, because in this case, you enter here and you could have made a 7% on daily with 10x leverage that I only use most of the time the 70% profits. Everything above 20-30% profits is more than fine for me. So this would have been an amazing trade. So these strategies are not meant for holding for weeks or for multiple candles. Uh, just try to make to lock profits on the way up, because these strategies are for bounces, not for mm, and a a long term recovery, a long term recovery. Yeah, those are trend indicators. These are just anticipation strategies, and those bounces are very profitable. Believe for 50-70% profits are awesome. Let's say another one. I want to find scenarios where strategy failed, because of course there will be scenarios when it failed. So here we go. Here we don't take a trade. It's no strategy, no strategy. Uh, this is the very scenario one. This also played out because this is for shorts. What happened here? Went all the way to this line, and we have the berry circle here. And you can see also this was a perfect entry. Another perfect entry for this strategy. So far so good on
That's
the daily.
both.
Sorry?
That's both strategy 1 and 2 playing out on the bear, right?
Yeah, you're right. This would have been strategy number one, not number two, because your entry would have been here and also perfect. Yeah, you're right. This is strategy number one. And if you missed it, then the strategy number two tells you that you could catch this move if you missed this one. But yeah, just to be strict, this is more strategy number one, and it also played out.
But even if you caught the strategy number 1, when you see the confirmation of strategy number 2, and the strategy 1 is still going,
Yep.
could you use that as confirmation to double down?
I never double down when I on profits. I take profits when I'm in profits. Uh, so no, I will not double down, because you had a perfect entry here. So if you were going to take a trade, this was the time. If you start doubling down on the way down, in this case, more profits, I tell you something. Over the time, you will start losing money. So don't do that. You could be successful once, but no. What I would do is entering, probably using the strategy number two, a fresh new trade, but I know that I will have to place my stop loss higher because we already have the retest. So you see, it's like a different trade setup. Uh, yes, if you look at the strategy number two, because for strategy number two, we already know that the line was touched once, and if it is touched again, it will be a little bit above. So I have to set my stop loss a little bit higher. So it's like a different trade. This case, it would have also played out, but it's easier in hindsight. So just to know it's like a different trade.
But at the point where strategy 2 is confirmed and we see the bearish oscillator dot, then when that is confirmed, and so we're looking to the candle right after that, doesn't that show you that like momentum is still going further down?
Yeah, I mean that what I would do is just still leaving my trade open.
Okay.
Right?
Right. Okay. So you wouldn't double down per se, but you would still use it as a signal that you can let your
Yeah,
strategy 1 entry ride longer.
yeah.
Maybe.
I will leave it longer because I don't like to double down. I could
Okay.
I would like to double down on the way down, probably, and that would be what I said before, a layered entry, right? When you say you limit orders in case the price goes the other way, and in that case, I would not call it double down, but I would call it a layered entry, right? Uh, in that case, yeah, call it double down or something like that. But yeah, I prefer layered entry uh, on the other way, but not on the other, because you make your decision here. Don't be indecisive. You take a decision here. If you see price going down, yeah, what I would probably do is, instead of looking at, let's say this is Bitcoin, then you probably go for altcoins and see what's going on with altcoins and find a coin that is probably about to follow, right, with a similar pattern closer to this line or something like that. Yeah, I do that quite frequently. If this were Bitcoin, I will go to another. And I just noticed we're on Cardano. I thought we were on Bitcoin. But you can see also for an altcoin, it works out really well. I will hide this because people will freak out to see everything red. So yeah, it works out. Yeah. We're reviewing ADA, and even for an altcoin, this strategy is working very well. And ADA, it's not so easy to trade as people think. It's easy if you are used to the coin, but ADA tends to have those very big fake outs, and I mean, it's very good that it's working out here. All right, let's finish with ADA, and I think we will gonna use ADA only for this session because it's the same strategy. Yeah, so this was try number one. So let's find another one. Uh, Here, this one was broken, so no. Retest here. This is try number one. Play out this try number one. I don't know if it's try. Yeah, I won't enter the try number. I have the blue circle here. All right. So this would have been try number two. This candle, and this one play it out or not. I would have said my stop loss. I think we have this huge wick here, so we know price is gonna break this line. Uh, I would say 50-50 because where would have set our stop loss here? This is the most recent one, Nate. I remember this one. I remember this one. Let's say. Let me play this. Yeah, we have here, we have no line. But whenever we have this one, we know there's a big probability of price going at least 50% here. So I would probably have to set my stop loss around this one. So in this case, I will have probably layered in, like partial layer in my entries because I know this is a big gap. But let's say it fails.
Sorry, can you
Let's say so.
explain what a layering entry means?
Just split your position, split your limit orders. So you could market buy here, let's say $1,000, $1,000 here, $1,000 close to your stop loss. Let's say that. Instead of buying your original $3,000 position, you just layer in. You split your position.
Okay.
And you could use that when you see that your stop loss is way lower and you don't have a good risk reward ratio, like this case probably. So let's say that would have been like an advanced trade, very reasonable. It could have played out very reasonably if you had stop loss control. Let's say it failed. Let's say it failed for most of the people who did not were that careful. And yeah, let's say this one failed. And let's find another one. But life gives you second chances. And there we go. This was a second time. And this was a third time. No, this was not a third time. This one was the one that played out. Really beautiful. But the line was broken already. So yeah, I believe this one successful because your stop loss was relatively yeah. Yeah, I think this one would have hold. Because remember, during this strategy, you have to set your stop loss below this line, below the Toronto master line, because it have already been tested more than once. So it will most probably go below on the list, on the next test. So let's make the replay here. Make this replay here, and let's delete this. Shoot it. That was too fast. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, no levels here, but we already know this could happen. Yeah. For me, this one played out because it, yeah, it went slightly below this one. With proper stop loss control, this would have been successful. Alrighty. And finally, this also because this was this super signal here. And let's do something.
When you see the super signal happen on the same candle as strategy 2,
That's more confidence.
do you okay? So do you have the exact same risk as you would on a normal strategy 2 trade, or do you add a bit more to it because there's more confluence?
Uh, I mean, if this week does not exist, yeah, I would probably enter a higher, uh, a larger entry here. But just
Right.
because this one is here, and I be careful because this line was breached before. I know we will tend
Mm,
to go a little bit lower. So that's what my only thing. Being careful, and if we go, let
right.
me see.
So the wick basically forces you to put your stop loss, so your risk reward
And you can see
ratio
where's
wouldn't
the
be
stop
very good.
that suggested stop loss for the
Yeah.
super signal all the way down here. So yeah, you have to be a little bit careful with this one, but I would definitely take this trade. I would have probably layer in because I know there's a risk here. And even this week was not successfully filled all the way down, not even a 50% if you see. Not even a 50%. So that's like very close to a 50%. Also. Very close. Very close. 50%. It was very close here to 50%. Yeah. So, so I would enter it because it could have also not been filled and just bounce and be filled later, right? Or not be filled at all. So, yep. Just don't try to overcomplicate it. No, let's not overcomplicate it. Uh, just layer in your positions. You see, like the line was breached before with this big wick. Just consider that it could be a little bit lower. So layer in your positions, and that's it. And this happened on the last trade of December. This was also 24. Yeah, this was this one was this was 24. There we go, and you can see how fun was this. Basically, everyone knew this was gonna bounce, but it scared everyone away, and it just started bouncing on January 1st. That's how market works. This is how market works. Like scare everyone, got everyone bored out, but bounce January 1st. Uh, and even don't care about it. Just use indicator, and it would be the same. Yeah, I think we're good. I think we had like one, two, three, four, five. Let's say 4 out of 5 were successful. Probably all 5 of those were successfully have proper stop loss management. But let's say 4 out of 5. For 8, right? Let me find my calculator. Where is it? There you go. Yeah, you have like an 80% on ADA, which is not bad. And even if you have been 3 out of 5, 60%. 60% I don't like that much. But even with proper management, you could have like 100%. So you're playing with these high accuracies, and it's very good. It's very good. And it happens much more frequently than Australia number one, probably 2 or 3 times more frequent than Australia number one. And Australia number one, I think for 8 in this case, had a very high, very high success ratio. Yeah, because even this one was successful because it had this mouse. Yeah, probably 100% accuracy for Australia number one in this strategy and 80% for Australia number two. All right, guys. I think this is it because I don't have that much time left today. But I think this strategy is also very elegant, very simple to execute. Just have to be, I would say, more careful with your stop loss. Layer in your position if the price is. Let's add this on the comments, right? Let's say tips. Layer in your position if price is not close to optimizer line. All right. Uh, Consider uh, lowest price points before below line to set your stop loss. I don't know if this one makes sense. It's like this one. You consider the lowest point here to fine tune your stop loss. To fine tune. All right. Also, I like this very much, so I'm gonna update this one on our Discord. All right, guys, let me know if you have.
D tab in TradeView. You have it open. So on the 4 hourly, we've confirmed entry into the small alt bullish push the way down box, and we're pending in it on the daily.
On the what's going on the 4 hour? I don't see nothing going on the 4 hour.
Oh, you don't have your boxes on that one. Maybe it's on your other tab. You have
yeah, but this time I really
it,
don't know where those are. I have too many charts.
I think you have it open. The middle tab.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So we're inside it on the daily, but of course that's pending. But it's confirmed on the 4 hourly. So I guess that means right now is a really good time to look for strategy 2 on altcoins.
A small alt
because
bullish
we're
push on the way. We're going on the way down on the daily. Yeah, but this is the when the chart is meant for the weekly. Because we need the close. Not necessarily we need the close candle, but this is made for the weekly for patient people. So
okay.
And you see we have our quick longs. Perfect. And then this could have been more accurate, right? Quick loans or consider risks. Look, yeah, we have this week here, but it's not confirmed. But yeah, we have the leadish reaction here. But yeah, for loans you could enter, but what is on the weekly? Because we need this candle confirmed below the right band upper limit, right? We need that because if it bounces back up during the weekend, yeah, then this would not be confirmed, right? So what I meant for this box is if we get a close below this line, it means that Bitcoin dominance is failing to regain the right band, but right now it's not confirmed, right? It's failing to regain the weekly rider band. So if you go to the daily and you make the same analysis, yeah, you see this is a thin rider band. Thin. Yeah, you can use it as reference. Like it's so thin, so it's practically non-existent there. But you could say that we had this very super signal here. Yes, it was very good. It was very good. And I would say at this point, stick to the strategies. Pay attention to the strategies because we could be getting this scenario. We could be getting this scenario if the week confirmed like that. And if you get good entries using the strategy, just go ahead.
Yeah. No, but what I was wondering is what we're seeing right now. If I understand correctly, then these boxes are telling me we're still waiting for the confirmation, but where we are right now in the box infers that now is a good time to look for strategy 2
Yep.
scenarios on altcoins. And when I'm looking on like Ethereum or Arweave on like the daily, then it looks like strategy 2, even 1 maybe playing out.
Ethereum.
It's not super close to the support line, but
yeah, but I mean, this is a strategy number 2 for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. And a series far, we should use our layer limit orders, right? Because
isn't it also 1? Because it didn't touch the other time it
well,
went
this
down
was
to
the one. So for the one, it was
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for one, it was a great entry. We probably yeah, for the one we knew that price was probably going down a little bit more. So yeah, makes sense. Yeah, for once it was perfect. For the one, it was perfect. And for 2, yeah, of course, it could easily play out, and this correction could be a blessing to get better entries. For later entries, you could have been started entry right now. We have this week here. Tells me the price could probably, let's say, let's play a game. Let's play a game here. We could probably something like this, like we saw on ADA, right?
Yeah.
Well, we saw on ADA for something like this. and we have the oscillator doing something like this, and we have another circle here, and probably this one or the third one could be the final bounce here, because Ethereum
Would you?
does look like it needs to consolidate a bit more to break out. But in this case, it would also be in Australia number 2 with layering entries, right?
Right, and so that's because on the oscillators you're not seeing a higher low yet. Like there's like the two last
Yeah,
bumps are like the
these are
same
too
height.
similar. Yeah, these are very similar.
Right,
And
but
also,
if they were showing higher lows, then you
yeah, then
wouldn't be.
chances for this to move faster are higher. If it is a clear higher low here, then chances for sorry too much Robin. Then chances for this to play out faster and avoid
Hmm.
much more time consolidating are higher, because this tells me that the consolidation is getting over.
Okay, so one question then, while you have that, I forget what it's called, but I'm looking on the daily as well. I have like a green area showing. I think it's like a
Key
demand
levels.
zone. I think it's a key level, yeah. Yeah, there you go. So you're seeing there's an old demand zone there that's on the wick.
Yeah,
It covers.
this also helpful. Yeah, this also helps, and you can see it bounce here. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So,
this also tells us that uh, yeah, that there are chances for this one to be tested again are
so
important.
would you layer that then, and would you put the layers inside of the green area or a little
Yeah, for
above
sure.
and a
If I'm
little
gonna
inside?
layer in a position, I will make sure to layer in close to my stop loss. I mean that would be the most profitable limit order if it's close to my stop loss.
Okay,
Uh,
so if you were bored and you were to try and trade this one,
let's
then
say
you
50% of this
what's the
candle.
highest entry you would make?
Let's say 50% of this candle, because it confirmed
Mm-hmm.
here. So 50% of this candle. I mean, I don't have these numbers, but this plays out much frequently than not, like a 50% retracement and then go up. I would say another one at bottom here, and usually this would have been, but in this case, like we have this clear level here. Yeah, probably a little one, another one here, and that's it. And if it sounds too risky, then just pass. Then just pass this trade and wait for another one. If this happened, you could have the risk of miss this move completely. But we already have the strike number 2, so yep, you could take this one.
This is really really helpful, and yeah, thanks.
Yeah, no, don't worry, don't worry. It is my pleasure, and it also helps me a lot because I trade that frequently, and I tend sometimes even I to forget my strategy because I'm looking too much at the charts, and this helps me a ton to remind myself.
Yeah, no,
The,
your gut feeling is fucking spot on. I just zoomed in and looked on the 4 hourly, and we have a bearish super signal.
the very super hidden here.
Yeah, and
Confirm.
it's pointing right above your second layer entry that you just drew, just shooting from your hip.
And we also have the rider band, slide rider band here. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I could also and this is because I've been looking at the charts for years, and I know that this kind of 50% retracement when there is a bullish setup are very common. So
Yeah.
uh,
Oh, there's a lot of confluence here then, like if that plays out, right? Because you see a new short support on the 4 hourly. So I guess if the super signal plays out and it goes
this
even
one.
a little bit lower than that, yeah, 4 hour Ethereum.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it could easily do something like this, right? And bounce,
No, no, I was
bounce on
just
the.
saying from the layered entries that you made on the daily. I'm saying like when I zoom in on the 4 hourly, I can see that like if it does go lower and hits or get closer to the entries that you just drew out, like with not a spare second thought, just based on your gut instincts.
It will be close to
And
these
when
levels.
what exactly when I'm zooming in, I can see, oh shit, like that's a strategy one on the 4 hour. Like it could go down and
I get it. Yeah,
bounce off the
yeah.
short term support, and yeah, it's
And I
so much
mean,
confluence.
this one just got feeling, call it, but you could also do this and go to a lower time frame to set your limit orders to layer in as well. You could also do that
Yeah, yeah.
instead of just doing my visual experience. You just go to a
I'm,
lower
I'm
time
just
frame and see the orders.
yeah, and I'm just in awe of the expertise being shown because you're. I mean, I know it's your gut feeling, and you say like you haven't really thought through it all, but you know it all so well that
Yeah,
you're
yeah, don't
putting more
worry. It
into
comes.
it. That I'm sure you're putting more into it than you realize you are.
Yeah, it comes from years of looking at charts. So to me, it's
Yeah,
very,
it's impressive.
yeah, it's very, yeah. I mean, I've been through these consolidation periods and breakouts that happens probably 4 times a year or 5 times a year, probably sometimes even 2 times a year. But I've been here so many years that yeah, I've been probably through 30 times similar scenarios. So uh, yeah,
I'm
but
Trent. Sorry about that. We're cutting you off.
hi,
Can I
buddy.
ask you something?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
So, from my understand, like what I'm trying to like really fully understand is like the difference between one and two, because I feel like they seem pretty similar.
Yep.
Do they use more two for more for like for spot trading instead of just being more leverage like long trading?
I mean, it all depends on the time frame. Because if you're
Gotcha.
using, for
Yeah.
example, a 4 hour time frame, if you don't use leverage, then you would have to use like a very large spot positions to have a nice profit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you could always use spot trading, but you will need like much larger size, right? Much more capital.
Mm-hmm.
Can I try to answer just to see if I understood
Sure.
correctly? So the strategy 2 is by its nature pretty good for spot entries on downsides because it will occur during periods of consolidation. So if you're on a long time, a high time frame, like weekly or maybe even daily to a certain extent, when
Yeah.
strategy 2 plays out is usually during the valleys of the price consolidation. Strategy 2 offers typically a very asynchronous risk reward because your stop loss is typically going to be pretty tight, but the upside may be very high. It has a lower accuracy than strategy 1, but they both have a high accuracy.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the strategy 1 only occurs the first time that we hit the support after a higher high.
Yeah, it makes
While
sense to say that strategy number two is ideal for daily and weekly. Yeah, because it shines during consolidation times. Um, yeah, it makes sense because consolidation times are more reliable on higher time frames, right? But let's take a look at the 4 hour. Just because of that. Yeah, let's take a look at the 4 hour.
Yeah, yeah, like, that's my confusion because I feel like one kind of plays out the same way. Yesterday when you were teaching us, you were mentioning that. I mean, even though you were using strategy one more on the weekly, because you were waiting for that bullish sign, and the isolator for you to confirm if there was going to be a bounce. And you mentioned that only happens like super rare when like many times. For example, like you mentioned that this is the first time you've seen like 4 or 5, I think, of
On the weekly.
those as yeah, exactly. Um, and so I understood using the um the first step as doing it like that, and then you mentioned that you can also use that same step for strategy number one for the daily. So that's why like I feel like two kind of seems pretty similar as number one because I always gonna wait for touch that Tomaso line to confirm like if it's gonna first off, I'll wait for the bullets on the oscillator in the bottom, but also I'll wait for it to touch that line for me to be like, okay, I know there's gonna come a bounce from this line because every
I
time it touches,
I mean, for strategy number one, you don't need the oscillator at all.
got
Uh,
you. Okay,
yeah, because for strategy number one, you hide this one. For example, here, this was your entry.
exactly.
You don't need an oscillator at all for this one, right?
Got you.
So for strategy number two, yeah, you do need one. So let's say green is strategy number one, and let's say, well, where's the colors? Where are the
yeah,
colors?
well, it happens on the third test
Yeah,
of the line.
let's say strategy number two would have been this one.
Isn't that too far away from the support?
Yeah, I'm trying to make this fast. Technically, yeah,
Oh, I got it, I got it.
technically this is try number 2 with layering entries
Mm-hmm.
and line health, or would have been this one, which is the third one.
Yeah.
This is try number 2, and this is only try
Yeah,
number
yeah,
2.
yeah. I got it, I got it. Because yesterday you explained that it seems like since you were explaining us number one, I think you also mentioned number two.
Yeah,
So I kind of
I did mention number 2, and I think that's why you're confusing.
yes,
Yeah, I briefly
yes.
mentioned number 2 and tell you what I was going to talk about today. So
Okay, I got it.
these
I
are
already understand.
like brother and sister. Like you use try number 1 for these quick bounces, and you use try number 2 to catch up the to catch the consolidation breakout, right? Something like
Yeah.
that.
I,
Something like that. Uh, and I would
yeah.
say, just looking at charts, that the farther and I'm making this with you guys right now, but I would say that the longer it takes for this to consolidate, the much more accurate or powerful this try number 2 will get. You see?
Yeah.
Also, the closest, I mean, to make it even more simple, if the closer it gets to the line, the easier it is to trade, right? Because your stop
Mm-hmm.
loss is much tighter. But these scenarios tends to happen after. It's like a shockwave, right? It's like something like this. It's always like a shockwave. Uh, when there are these critical movements, this is not coincidence at all. This always happens. This is like a shockwave, and you start looking at this pattern after a couple of years of trading. But this is like this something. Things happen like a shockwave right here, and probably the bullish oscillator in this case appears here. When these waves getting smaller, the bullish oscillator will get a bit more accurate. Probably would appear here this time, and probably will this will happen during this kind of moment. This is how the code and the math works for the oscillator. I know that because I've used it for years, but I would say that probably you missed this one and you're trying to catch up. These ones are even more powerful.
Yeah.
Even when people say that longer a support has been tested, the weaker it is, you will see that trash on Twitter. Then you don't care about it. You just, yeah, but it would probably be true. But what we do is, yeah, it could probably be true. But if the bullish oscillator confirmed, then it's a different scenario. Then it could mean that it will probably move up, right? Uh, so, yep. Let
No,
me.
yeah, but it makes more sense. Like I was like, wait, but
Yeah.
I'm like I'm kind of mixed a little bit because yesterday I was going through it and just studying and just doing my own repaso
Yeah.
where you taught us yesterday.
Yeah, you were going
And
over what
so
we thought.
I
Yeah.
was like, wait, but you kind of mentioned that yesterday when we were doing number one. So, but thank you so much because it now it makes so much sense now. Now I'm like, okay, I'm here with you guys now.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah,
And let's check
yeah.
actual Bitcoin price. Let's see if we find something to trade here. Let's see, yes. So Bitcoin, well, Bitcoin already had this strike number 2 and this one beautiful strike number 2, right?
Mhm.
It was a beautiful, beautiful strike number 2. And this is what I also was talking about. You see these bounces, the big shockwaves, right?
Mhm.
And you can see bullish oscillator here appears first, and the second one appears here, right? This is exactly what I was talking about. And this was much safer to trade. Uh, but this was typical trade number 2. Now we have to wait. Sadly, this trade already happened. So there's no
Mhm.
strategy number 2 or number 1. Probably for the next 1-2 months, we won't see strategy number 1 at least. A strategy number 2 could happen if we get something like this once again, right?
Mhm.
And probably the ones will be a little bit. Sorry, I'm a mess right now. Probably, yeah, probably something like this. This could also happen. Yeah, but that's just don't pay too much attention to that. Just follow the strategy.
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh,
Honestly, yeah. I noticed that I watch other people too, just to keep learning and you know,
Sure.
it's just like see other opinions and what people see. And then you know how because of the whole month how it closed that it was a shooting star. Um, so people know that in the years past, when you see, I mean, this happened I think 2 times or 3 times already. Every time when a shooting stars appears, Bitcoin always goes down.
The SAR, yeah, I don't use the SAR one, but the parabolic SAR, right?
Hmm.
So what happened here with bearish? It still support on the monthly. On what time frame did it go bearish? Uh, yeah, yeah. These parabolic SAR and those indicators are good, but I'm not that. Honestly, I'm not that reliable. I would say that their accuracy is probably around 40-50%.
Yeah.
And I tell you because when I started coding indicators, I look at hundreds of indicators, especially trend indicators. And trend indicators, like the parabolic SAR, their accuracy is very low. It's very low. And it fluctuates a lot depending on the time frame and the asset you're looking for. So those accuracy are probably around 40-50%. Very difficult to make a decision using those trend indicators. So that's why I create the anticipation indicators. Now you see what I was thinking about, thinking of when I create indicators. Because
Hmm.
I use trend indicators at a ton at first, then my success rate was not that good. And when I started coding these anticipation indicators, then yeah, it is skyrocket because it's very different for trading with leverage. Trend indicators are not good for trading. Are probably good for holders. Are very good for holders, but for trading, trend indicators are not good at all. Not good at all. You need those anticipation indicators. You need those high risk reward moments before it happens. If you're gonna use leverage.
Yeah, yeah. But honestly, like, it just makes so much sense. That's what's like. I mean, I kind of a little bit panicked because I bought Cardano again. I entered when it was like 84 cents, and then when I saw the whole shooting star and all of that was happening, I sold super quick. Like honestly, I was following what you were saying, but I know you were moving and then you were on vacation, and I was like, "Where's Trent at? We need Trent. Like I need some
Yeah, yeah, I
something
know, I
to
know.
just leave me and feel better. But I know you had important things to do, but I didn't want to switch the conversation because I know you're recording this and I'm using that for the videos. But what I'm trying to say is like it's not always goes the way that people are saying. Even though there's a shooting star confirmed, and I know sometimes like Bitcoin can react a different ways. So the most important thing is like you said, just follow the charts, just follow the indicators, and just do your trading personally and don't follow like everybody opinion because if not, you're always gonna go crazy, basically.
Yeah, you're gonna go crazy because, as I said before, you will always find an indicator or a fractal, of course, an influencer that
Yeah,
that is indicating the opposite of what you're trading. And
exactly.
you will always find it. You search, and it is not necessarily wrong. But what happens here is assume that you have a strategy that have an 80% accuracy. You will fail 20% of the time. They probably have another strategy that has, I don't know, 60% accuracy. Uh, and probably this time it failed. And it's okay for them because it's not 100%. Uh, I don't know if this makes sense, right? Probably for them they were not wrong, but they know they are not correct all the time. But you will always find
Yeah.
those strategy that contradicts
What?
your.
No, but yeah,
Oh, sorry. Didn't mute the
I
mic.
mm.
All right.
No, but I completely agree though. Like, I think that's something that I should have considered more. But like I said, I feel like because of honestly, in the same time, thank you because at that time you took a break. It just made me more take risk and more like understand more of the charts myself the way I understand it.
Awesome.
That it will benefit me. But of course, there's always things to learn, and then more about understanding your indicators and stuff like that. And honestly, thank you so much. Appreciate it because you're doing this. It made so much sense in certain things that I kind of thought myself that I understood what it meant. But now that you're explaining it, it makes more sense. Also, like, I speak Spanish, so there's certain things in English I don't catch really good. So
Don't
you're
worry.
doing this, doing all this is like, oh, now I understand what he was trying to say.
No worry. And you can always send me a DM and y te voy a contestar. Así que don't worry.
I know, man. But you have your life, you have your kids and your wife, and you're busy. But I always appreciate because I think you do so much more than anybody in the industry I've seen. And trust me, I've been following crypto for 4 years, and I only done spots. This is the first time in after 4 years that I started doing leverage, and it always started because of you, man. Like the way you explain, your indicators, and I even have a friend of mine. He's like famous. Like, I don't know if I mentioned that, but I'm a professional dancer. I dance with artists.
Awesome.
Um, and he actually is a big producer for stuff, and he was trying to do trading, and I invited him to your thing. So you have a new person come, a new customer. So you're gonna a lot more people are gonna start coming in because of like I've been telling them about you, man. So honestly, a lot of
Awesome,
blessings for
mates.
you.
Awesome, awesome. We're a small community. Uh, when we grow like that, um, it's awesome for me because I don't do marketing at all. I suck at Twitter. I'm very bad. I'm very bad at Twitter. Like I know I hate to post all those tweets that people like just because of engagement. So I really struggle with that. So my only way to grow indicators and people know are you guys. You guys telling your friends and your people, and they come here. Uh, yeah, that's awesome because the larger the community, the more time I can dedicate to that, uh, and also the more people we can hire because uh, yeah, it's not like I need the money for the subscription, but I need for this for
Yeah,
my time to be worth, right? And when the community is thriving like it is right now and it's growing, for me, I love to dedicate more times, even if we are 5, 10, 3 people on the stream. I really enjoy it. So when more people come in and join our session, I mean I love that, and I dedicate more time, more passion for to teach you guys all of this. Sometimes a little bit boring, but I think it's very useful.
of
So
course. Like I feel like you should because the reason I found about what you is because I saw you posting on Twitter. I mean, on X, and I saw that you had similar ideas, but I believe similar like I don't know say it in English.
go in
Basically,
Spanish. Don't
I
worry, go
follow.
in Spanish. I
So yo
translate.
sigo a un streamer que se llama Dan, right? Él
Dan
hace mucho
from
post.
Crypto Intubers or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cryptocurrency, algo así se llama, exacto.
All
Y
right.
él hace mucho posts about Cardano. Pero,
Yeah, I know who
he talks
this.
about the graphic, he talks about the details, he talks about all of this, like his point of views and what he see and all of that. Perfect, right?
Yep.
Pero una vez yo vi que tú posteaste y demostraste tu gráfica y lo que tú estabas viendo y tú le diste your point of view a él. When I saw that, I was like, wait, this man knows what he's talking. Y ahí fue que por esa razón fue que te seguí. Y yo dije, espérate, pero. And I kept looking at your stuff and you kept posting. Y yo dije, oh no, this man is legit. And that's why it brought me to your community and brought me to, to your, para comprar tu gente quieres esas cosas porque you've been, bro, I'm telling you, for the most years that I've been following a lot of people that are famous, like, like, not famous, but, like the most known traders. And, bro, like, you're the top dog, but you should keep posting, like, because of that, fue que como te encontré, so, no
Yeah,
pare.
no. No, awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, I don't know. I think the X algo hates me or something like that because I've been at 19.4 K followers for the past 3 months. So mean. Sometimes I grow to 19.5, then I go back to 19.4. I had no idea what's going on, but I really got tired of that. Like, I think that sometimes I post and I don't know what happens out there, but like later I don't know joke. I've been like exactly 90.4 for the past 3-4 months, and I stuck at 15k also for a year, 15.1. So I really have no idea what's going on there with the algo,
But
but
on
I got
X, you
tired of
mean?
that. I mean,
You mean on X?
yeah,
The
next,
followers?
next, yeah.
You have 21 4K right now.
Sorry, 20.4. No, not 19.5. Sorry. I don't
Oh
even know my
yeah,
numbers anymore.
so
So that tells you how much I invested in the nets. But yeah,
yeah.
20.4. Yeah, it does not move. It does not move. You know when it moves? When I post a bullish long-term chart, that sometimes are okay. But
Yeah.
just when I post it, because that's how the algo works, sadly. Uh, I also see some traders post like trading stuff and do very well, but for some reason when I do it have no views, no engagement at all. So yeah, I will keep doing it, but it's just like a bit worn out, just tweeting, and I know there's some
I'm
people out
pretty
there
sure I
who see
found
that.
you. I'm
Sorry.
pretty sure I found you through Twitter as well. And I've been in Cardano for 5 years now, and I'll tell you, the average Cardano holder is pretty long-term minded.
Yeah.
So without looking at your posts, I'm pretty sure that any long-term post you're gonna make will have very high engagement. Where like short-term trades you make will have lower trade engagement because
Sure.
that community doesn't care that much about the short-term gains.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I also believe something related to that because at one point, a ton of people from Cardano community joined us. I don't know. I don't remember. I specifically got a point. Maybe when I was around 5k, then I was growing fast. By chance I started posting about Cardano randomly, and it got some traction. And probably 10k people from Cardano community joined us. And what happened then is that each time I posted about Bitcoin or whatever else, there was no engagement at all, because what you just said, like Cardano people love, above everything else, bullish long-term shorts,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what it killed my engagement and my follower so much that it took me like a year to realize what happened with not growing at all. Then I realized what was going on. Then I started growing a little bit more, and I even have to specialize my account, focus my account only on Cardano because it made no sense at all to talk about everything else because the engagement was extremely low, and the only thing I gets engagement at all is talking about Cardano, and it's not bad, but just that's the reason why I only talk about Cardano next, because when I talk about something else, it just the algorithm doesn't show it to anyone. And I have another account, but I don't really have the time to or the energy to start to tweet on two accounts right now. I prefer just to trade. But I will keep doing it, guys. I will keep doing it. But when you tell about indicators to your buddies, to your people, to your group, it also helps a ton. My goal for this year is to at least double our members. But let's see. Let's see how it goes. Okay, guys, I gotta go now. I gotta go because I have a meeting in 20 minutes and I need to prepare. So I really gotta go
All
right
right.
now.
Take care. Thank you very much for the session.
Or-
No rush on the question that I sent. You can answer
Yeah, yes,
whenever
send the pic, and
convenient.
I will look probably in the afternoon.
Yeah, I sent it in the trading chat, but it is
Awesome.
no rush. So you
Awesome.
you do your thing. Thank you for the stream.
Awesome, my
Yeah,
friend.
thank you so much, man.
Take care, guys.